Evening, everybody. Welcome to our Monday night presentation. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Merle Westcott, and I'm a Senior Presidential Director at LifeWave, and I'm based in Durban, South Africa. And I'm saying that because not everybody on this call is based in South Africa. So I was introduced to X39 and LifeWave in December 2022. And why I say X39, and it's the product we're going to focus on tonight, is was the only product that I was introduced to. So while the company has more patches than just X39, this is what I was introduced to. And X39, for those of you who don't know about it, is this magical little patch. And I'm taking mine off after 12 hours of wearing it. So there it is. So when I was introduced to LifeWave at the end of 2022, I had been a complementary therapist for many years. This year is my 30th year as a life alignment therapist and teacher. And the technology made perfect sense to me. I was shown a video of David Schmidt, who's our CEO, talking to healthcare professionals. And this product sounds great. I'm going to patch myself and my husband, but I'm not telling anybody else about it because I don't do network marketing anymore. I've done it before, pre-COVID, and it was a travel business, and we went into COVID, and of course I was making money and the people under me weren't. And so I gave it up and said, that's it, no more ever. And then I discovered the magic of the patch. Because when you start seeing what this little patch does, there's no ways you can't share it. I couldn't sit on a technology that was this powerful and not share. And so the result is that everybody who's on this call is here this evening. So I'm going to be presenting with Alex today. And Alex and I have been friends for many, many years, I think since 2001. And Alex thought I was crazy when I first introduced her to LifeWave, but she'll tell you about that. So I'm going to hand over to Alex, and Alex will introduce herself, and then Alex will do the product part of the presentation, and I will do the business part. So over to you, Alex.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, most of you do. I'm Alex, and as Mel says, it took her 8 months to convince me to even look at this because it sounded like a magic trick and nothing fixes everything. I also don't do MLMs. And so the vehicle was a major problem for me. But once I'd done months of research, I had to acknowledge, and there are different kinds of research, guys. You can't Google LifeWave patches and then call that research. Once I had done the research, I had to acknowledge that the patches do what they say they will do, which is stimulate the peptide. And the company's been around for 20 years. This is not made in somebody's garage by an enthusiast. It is backed by serious science and serious business. And so because I had something that needed resolving from a health point of view, that is why I started X39. So that's my history, and that's how I got involved. I also got involved, by the way, because a very good friend of mine's brother got dementia. And conventional medicine has absolutely nothing to offer you. And I said, I'll have a look at this stuff. Maybe it's got something to offer you because conventional medicine doesn't. So that's how I got involved originally.
And then your background, Alex, just for those who might wonder how you...
Okay, I'm a nurse. All right, I'm a nurse by training, and I spent about 35 years in the pharmaceutical industry, and I've owned a couple of my own businesses. And I'm a complementary therapist. So my basis for looking and investigating and whatever is quite broad. But I did need to understand that this was real, hence the research.
Perfect. So let's dive into this. So Alex seriously researched, and she researched from a medical point of view, well, a pharmaceutical point of view. So she didn't just Google, just in case she was saying that's not how we do it.
Just Googling is not researching.
Yes.
Okay, so at this point, we always ask, have you been patched yet? And so many of you on this call have and can tell fantastic stories, and some of you haven't. So it elevates, activates, and regenerates. Look at all those words, guys. It's all upwardly mobile stuff. Okay. David Schmidt is our CEO and inventor of X39. He has now over 200 patents, and he is a scientist and inventor, not a medical doctor. He specializes in age reversing And in 2008, David focused his attention on stem cell research, which currently in the world is estimated to be about 2.6 billion, because stem cells are the next magic ticket in terms of healing. The recent patent, which is X39, took 10 years and $4.5 million to bring to market. So what we have here is patented technology. So everybody on this call understands what a patent is, and you cannot get a patent unless you can prove that you deserve the patent. Apart from the money that it costs to get the patent, you need the science in whatever field you're in, whether that's health, medicine, engineering, hydraulic, whatever. You need to be able to prove that what you are claiming is unique and proven. So in this particular patent, which pertains to X39, just some of the things that they accepted as part of the patent was as a result of elevating copper peptide's just a chain of amino acids, including activation of stem cells, improvement in energy, elevation of antioxidants, reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvement in stamina, elevation of collagen production, and improved wound healing. That's a tiny list. The list looks like a telephone directory. Why X39 stem cell activation patch? The fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. So hundreds of millions of people are experiencing symptoms of aging worldwide. You'll all see that in the people that you know and the lives that you're living, because we all feel that. It was a discovery for me to realize that at 30, you have only half your stem cells active, and that by 60, you've lost almost all of your stem cell activity. So essentially, you're middle-aged at 30. Just as well, none of us knew that or felt it. Okay, so how X39 works. It's a proprietary form of phototherapy. So phototherapy simply means light therapy, which has been around for 3,500 years in various shapes and forms. The source of light in this phototherapy is your own body. Every living thing emits light and heat. So the source of light in terms of this technology is our human body. This is patented, which we've already addressed, nanocrystal technology. So minute atomic size crystals, that's where the technology lies. In the middle of the patch, you'll see a little white patch that looks like the Band-Aid part of the patch. And this is just a lattice work of very, very, very tiny crystals made up of sugar, salt, water, oxygen, and proprietary amino acids. So in this case, it happens to be cysteine, lysine, and histidine, which are just amino acids. The patch reflects light to activate. So your body's light and heat activate the patch, which then reflects back into your body like a mirror. So the only place that I can create an analogy for you is that the sun gives us vitamin D. The sun does not actually give us vitamin D. It stimulates our skin, which stimulates a biochemical process, and our bodies then produce vitamin D. This is a very, very similar principle. The only thing that is we're not producing vitamin D, we're stimulating a peptide called GHKCU. So it's a copper peptide. And that is a result of the patch reflecting a message, communication back into your body. It's non-transdermal, so nothing goes across your skin except a message. No drugs, chemicals, or stimulants, and it's non-invasive. So the other important part, just to say, I'll go into this now, about that is that this is a normally occurring peptide. It's a peptide that we have a lot of and that does a lot of things in our body. And as we age, we lose that peptide or lose our levels of that peptide are reduced, which is why changing it changes so much. Benefits of X39, increased strength, reduced inflammation. These are just a few, everybody, that people experience really quickly sometimes. Increased stamina, energy and vitality, mental clarity. That was huge, and that is huge for lots of people. Restored muscle or skeletal conditions, improvement of sleep, and improved skin appearance. So it's important to say that LifeWave products are not designed to diagnose, treat, or cure any medical condition. This is a medical device. This is not a pharmaceutical product. This is only designed to allow your body to access its own healing mechanism. So this is the result of a topographical map where they've taken photographs, essentially, of somebody's brain. So session 1, this was a 77-year-old woman who arrived with an inflamed brain and a lack of brain coherence. So you can see all the red and orange, lots of it. It's the dominant color. Then session 2, after 3 weeks of X39 on the back of her neck, no more inflammation and improved brain coherence. By session 3, 6 weeks of X39, you can see a complete turnaround, better brain coherence, and you can see the accumulative effect of the longer she wears X39, the greater the impact. So X39 long-term results, all of these are proven in terms of case studies, and you can find them on thisisatinfo.com. In the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset. That's unheard of in medical science. It simply doesn't occur. The closest thing the pharmaceutical industry has to that is a thing called resveratrol, and that resets 2 genes. So it's a different league entirely. Within 6 weeks, your brain becomes balanced. We've just shown you the photographs of that. That has a serious impact or significant impact for people with anxiety, depression, ADHD, autism. Some of the stories and some of the testimonials, because this is testimonial based, because this is technology, are quite extraordinary. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased, and it's your own collagen. So its bioavailability cannot be compared to something that you would take as a supplement. But collagen is not just part of hair and nails and skin. Collagen is part of brain, blood vessels, nerves, gut, lungs, kidneys. Absolutely everything has collagen in it, which is why, as we age, things start to not work as efficiently as they are because we're not producing enough collagen, and that we have produced is starting to get tired and not quite as flexible as it should be. Within 6 months, your heart reverses in age. So as David Schmidt says, this is not anti-aging, it's age reversing. How to wear your X39 patch. 12 hours on and 12 hours off. It's just a habit. 12 hours on to stimulate the peptide and 12 hours off to repair and rejuvenate. And then you throw the patch away or put it on your pet or your partner or your plant, because there'll still be a little bit of activity left in the patch, and you put a new patch on and repeat. So you can wear more than one patch at a time because LifeWave makes 10, because there was a lot of development and technology before we got to X39. But it's not necessary to wear more than one X39 at a time. Your value is only about 20% in terms of the increase, which is not financially viable or sensible. The most important thing about all of this is the 12 hours on and 12 hours off consistently every day, and to drink plenty of water. This is essentially electricity, and it needs conductivity. So you need water to move the messages in and out the cells and to conduct the message from one cell to another. So it operates at a mitochondrial level, and your hydration is absolutely critical to the efficacy and impact that the patches make. It's an easy thing to do, guys. You just have to drink water. Okay, X39. So sophisticated and yet simple to explain. The testimonies are life-changing and emotional, and that is a real story. For those of us that have been involved a long time, long being a relative term, 2 years, 2.5 years, whatever. You open your phone and read the most unbelievable stuff in terms of somebody's life changing. So the most wonderful thing about X39 is that it absolutely works.
Okay, so Alex, perhaps we can start with you sharing your testimony because you have an incredible testimony.
Okay, sure. So essentially, I had a thing called polymyalgia, which is many inflamed muscles, and I had a very sore body for 20 years, which I managed with Lyrica and anti-inflammatories and duloxetine and anything that medical science could throw at me. Um, and it had a huge impact on my life, and I was permanently in pain. Not debilitating to the point where it made me bedridden or anything like that, but that was because I managed it with pharmaceutical medication. And I used to buy cortisone tablets, 5 milligram ones, in 1,000 tablet tubs in order to control the inflammation. So I once I understood the science behind the patch and that it did produce, amongst many other things, your own stem cells, stimulate your dormant stem cells. I chose to take it for me because I wanted to heal. And in the beginning, I had huge mental clarity. I had lots of energy. I felt like somebody giving me a new engine. My head started to work better. However, to become completely pain-free took me 10 months. And if I had stopped at 6 or 7 or 8 months, I would never have known what that felt like. And there were days that it was really fantastic, where I felt absolutely amazing, and other days where I was incredibly sore. But that's called healing. This is not, pardon me, a pharmaceutical that is managing symptoms. This is something that is healing. And that sometimes is uncomfortable because sometimes there's destruction of tissue in order to replace it with good tissue. So on the days that I didn't feel great, I just rested. And most of that was I could resolve and feel a whole lot better. Oh, sorry, feel a whole lot better with drinking of water.
Thanks, Alex. I think you're battling at the moment.
Sorry.
No, don't stress. I'm going to move on to Caroline because I think, and the other thing that happened with Alex is lots of her hair grew back and her fine lines started going. And we have
Sorry,
her
I
picture.
had a whole lot of cosmetic things, which, by the way, is not what I took it for, but it's a seriously nice side effect. So my hair had all fallen out. Um, Now it's all back. So there are a lot of things that got better um, on the surface, and that only represents for me what was going on in the inside.
Thanks, Alex. So, Caroline.
Yeah, hi, I'm Caroline. I live in the UK. I'm a homeopath and I started patching about a year and a half ago. Um, had been recommended the patches by a good friend, and like everyone here tonight, hear about it the first time, you think, can it be true? Is it safe? You know, all these questions that we have. But I trusted her and I saw some really interesting testimonials. And I thought, right, well, as soon as I realized it was non-transdermal, I was really ready to give it a go. I had a long-standing knee issue that I hadn't been able to resolve through trying everything else bar steroids or anything like that. I was trying different exercises, massages, acupressure, acupuncture, osteopathy, you name it. And it just didn't really want to resolve. And it was probably the beginning of some arthritis because it was starting to affect my joints as well. I was starting to wake up at night with pains in the middle of my hands and very, very stiff fingers that would click and I would have to kind of open them up again. And so this patch came a bit as a godsend, actually, because I think I was just about to hit something really, really uncomfortable. Anyway, I started patching, didn't really feel much in the beginning. And a couple of weeks in, I thought, right, yeah, I do sleep quite well, but that could be a coincidence. And when that happened a couple of times in a row, I realized that I was starting to really get into a very, very deep and restful sleep. And with that, I realized that I was also sleeping so much better because I didn't have that night pain that I'd had for many months leading up to this point. Um, that got me really excited because when I realized it was working on my hands and my fingers, I thought that might be hope for my knee as well. And good 6, 8 weeks in, I'm probably a bit more, 8.5. Yeah, well, close to 3 months, I think, when I started feeling I could completely bend my knee again. I could squat, which at my age, 66, is at best of times difficult. So I was super pleased about that. And then I just knew I had something really exciting on my hands, and I started patching my patients as well, and friends and families, and everyone I could get my hands on, as we do, because we can't keep this quiet. And I had some amazing results with some of my clients: eczema disappearing, a lot of pain disappearing, hip issues getting better. Recently, I had a young girl who patched who had to take painkillers on the first day of her period forever. Last month, she did not take a single painkiller, so that was really exciting. So she's starting to feel the benefits now, and that's 2 months into patching. Um, I had my friend whose mum has got dementia tell me that they could not bear to not patch her now because she's in such a different state of mind when she's being patched. She's happy, content, chats, can watch TV. It's just kind of getting on with her not so exciting life. Obviously, she's still got dementia, but she's a different person when she's patching, and it's just such a gift for the family as well. So yeah, I'm super excited about this patch journey that I'm on, and I'm not stopping anytime soon.
Thanks, Caroline. Is there anybody else who would like to share? There have been lots of people I could pick on the call, but I'm going to open it up to volunteers. Anyone? No? Okay. I was going to. Amanda, can I pick on you? I know you turned your camera off, but if you're willing to turn it on and chat to us, I'd love you to share your story.
All right, okay. Just excuse me, it's quite cold. I was phoned by Amanda Ace, and she introduced the patches to me last year in April. She knew of my medical condition. I had Rickettsia cornerea, which is a parasitic bacteria. I was bitten by ticks and bed bugs because I was doing a lot of traveling and hiking, etc. So that was in my bloodstream, and I suffered from severe inflammation. I had to take antibiotics for 2 years, 7 days every month. But just before I started patching, I was actually diagnosed with a brain aneurysm, cranial left cranial, right next to my hypothalamus. And an option, a coil and a stent was not an option because it was 12 millimeters, so it was quite huge. It's right next to my hypothalamus and it caused inflammation. So I immediately started patching for 4 weeks. And 3 days before the open cranial operation, they actually did an angiogram just to check and see if everything is okay. And then they saw that some kind of like tissue formed over the aneurysm, and yes, a coil and a stent was possible. I've actually got the report here. Before, with my first angiogram, it actually said due to the presence of the thrombus within the aneurysm, simple coiling would be ineffective as the coils will migrate into the thrombus with recurrence of the aneurysm. So then they had discussions, and eventually I could only have a coil and a stent, no open cranial surgery. So I was very thankful for that. When I do not patch, I have very low cognitive function. 7 months ago, I also went for cognitive tests, and that proved to me that the X39 really, really helps me to focus, to concentrate, and to have a normal life. And I'm very happy to say that I've got my zest for life back. And also I had quite a few surprises. My fibrocystic breasts, when I was 25 years old, I had my first lump removed. And now I went for a mammogram again this year, February. I've got the most beautiful soft breasts, so no more lumps in my breast. Also, I have degenerative disc disease, C4 and C5. I was in hospital for 2 days. I couldn't walk. And now I can bend, I can run, I can squat, I can jump. I even tried tap dancing the other day. So I'm very happy about that. And yes, so I'm very thankful that I am part of the LifeWave journey, and that Amanda Ace thought about me and phoned me and said she's got something to share with me. And this is why I love also to share my story. And thank you that I can share this now.
Oh, thank you, Amanda. I know that your story is so amazing, and we've been on this journey with you, so I'm so pleased you shared. And I know it's freezing, so don't worry. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
I mean, I wanted to pick on you, and then I thought, oh, are you going to? No, I have to pick on you because
That's
your
fine.
story is incredible for people to hear. So let's go back to the presentation. I mean, there's so many other people on here that I could pick on who also have incredible stories. But I know with cameras off, they perhaps don't necessarily want to be talking today. Right.
Okay, so this is at info.com is where you'll find absolutely everything about this patch, its development, where it came from, clinical trials. There are lots of videos. Some of them are short and really, really informative. David Schmidt speaks on there. Down the bottom, you'll find a whole lot of interviews with medical doctors in terms of giving their opinion, in terms of the technology and the usefulness of it. So you can investigate as much as you wish to or don't wish to on this site. It depends on how much information you need and how much information you would find relevant. So this is at info.com. Everything is there. The site's beautifully designed and it's easy to look at. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Alex. All right, so I'm going to move into the business side of the presentation. Now, as I said to you, when I was introduced to LifeWave, I was going to tell no one because I didn't do network marketing. And I love network marketing. Well, I love LifeWave because the company changes lives. And as Alex said, it's incredibly ethical. It's 20 years old. We turned 21 this year. But when I started telling people, so I had a result in my first week, so my shoulder started improving. We started patching because my husband had tinnitus, or has tinnitus, because he still does. It's not as bad as it was, but he still has tinnitus, and he'd had it for many years. But what we've discovered, and Alex told you it took her 10 months to be pain-free, is that in Des's case, his biggest win is that he no longer has pyorrhea. So if you know what pyorrhea is, it's a hereditary gum disease. And his late mom had to have, he calls it pizza wedges, but like pizza-shaped slices of gum cut out between every single tooth, front and back, and then stitched together. So from his teens, he was already being treated for it because all you can do is try and control it so that you don't need surgery. And we all know that gum disease and the bacteria and the things that gets in the pockets that develop between the gums and the teeth can cause cardiovascular issues and all kinds of other issues in the body. So in his case, that was probably the most important thing, but he didn't think about it when he started patching. So 2 years into our journey, which was when he saw his dentist in January this year, his dentist said, this makes no sense to me, but there is no trace of pyorrhea at all. It's completely gone. So in his case, although we thought that his tinnitus would improve first, his pyorrhea is actually one of the biggest things. His tinnitus did improve, but it hasn't gone completely. Whereas other people's tinnitus has gone in, some people in 4 days, some people in a few months, but his, it's still there. So the stem cells are always going to go where they need to go first. And that's something we need to recognize about LifeWave. So I didn't see his results. I had results in my shoulder. I told a friend just because she had a shoulder issue, she had a result. And then one of my long-time clients had the most phenomenal result because her spinal cord started regenerating. And when I saw that happening, that's when I thought I have to tell people, I have to tell my clients, and I have to tell my friends. So that was when I looked at the company. When we joined, there was no presentation like this, at least not in South Africa. And we didn't have the This Is It website yet. So I just saw this presentation of David Schmidt, which an abbreviated version is on that site that Alex has just spoken about. Anyway, We're a 20-year-old company. We open in over 80 countries now, not just 75, and you can build a business in any of the countries that we're open in. So my team, like Caroline said, she's in the UK. My team is all over the world, and that's the amazing thing about LifeWave. You don't have to stick to the country that you're in. We're also not a Me Too product. So there are many amazing companies that have weight loss products or skincare or supplements. But if I've got a supplement, then somebody's going to say, well, my company has a supplement too. And then when people are short of money, they're going to go to the health shop or Dis-Chem or the budget pharmacy or wherever it is and buy a similar supplement. It may not be as good, but it's going to be cheaper. Now, we have 15 years left on the patent for X39. Plus, David has patents for products that have not even come to market yet. So he's got a plan 7 years ahead for the company. And some of what's coming I know about. I don't know it all, but it is incredibly exciting. So when X39 came to market and was patented, which was 2020, the company was doing about 20 million a year. So 2021, we still did 20 million. By 2022, and that's when Steve and Gina Merritt joined LifeWave, and they started this as a team. They joined in July 2022. The company did 320 million. In 2023, we did over 430 million. Last year, we did over 600 million, and we are on track to do over 1 billion this year. Now, a company doesn't grow like this if you don't have a product that works. And as Alex said, we wake up every single day to the most incredible testimonies. There's also a site called businessforhome.org, which is an American site that lists all the multi-level marketing companies in the world. And we are the #1 momentum company in network marketing. Now, we haven't just achieved that recognition once. The first time we achieved it was in 2024. And there you can see our corporate team on the right. There's Meredith Burkich, our president. On the left, you can see David Schmidt. Meredith, our president, along with Steve and Gina Merritt, who started this as a team. So we achieved that award in 2024. And in 2025, we once again achieved the award for the #1 momentum company in network marketing. So that's quite something. So you know that if you join LifeWave, you're not just with any company, you're with a company that really is taking off. And David Schmidt won the award for the #1 innovative product in network marketing. Now, he's a bit different to other companies in that he's the CEO who developed the product, was going to put it into pharmacies. He developed a product for the Navy SEALs, and when there was no more budget from them, he was going to put it into pharmacies. And doctors begged him to not do that because it would become more expensive if he licensed it, and to rather allow them to sell it. So for the first 17 years of the company, it was mainly medical professionals. So doctors, naturopaths, homeopaths, acupuncturists, chiropractors, nutritionists who use the product in their practices. It was only when X39 came to market that when I say normal people, people who didn't have practices, started telling their friends about X39 because one patch that was very simple, comes with a little instruction booklet, tells you exactly where to put it, changed everything. So the team we belong to has the most, and why is my... there we go. Oh, sorry, everything was freezing and now it's moving ahead. So our team, this is a team, has amazing training, and that was the first conference that the team had in 2023. We watched it virtually, and that same conference happens again next month, and I'll be in Orlando for it because the training that Steve and Gina put together, the plug and play method that they put together, helps everybody to succeed. So I'm going to tell you where you can plug into that too. So at this point, we say, what is the most important thing in your life? What is it that you want? Is it more time with your family? What about freedom to do whatever you like? Are you looking for security, whether it's financial security or security with your health? Would you like to travel more? Or what about less debt? So we have 4 incredible ways to earn money, and I'm going to go through them really quickly because next month, well, I'll say next month starts tomorrow. In August, our compensation plan is being enhanced, and there are going to be 9 different ways to earn. So LifeWave is getting even more exciting because our compensation plan is 20 years old, and it's been adjusted in a way that is next level. We're so excited about the changes. So at the moment, if you're on the presentation tonight and you think, I want to use this product, but I never want to tell another person, you can go back to the person who invited you to the call and you can sign up as what's called a preferred customer. Preferred customer has a monthly order, and so they get the same price as brand partners. So they're going to get wholesale price instead of paying retail. So that's a win. So you could do that. Or if you decide that you want to join us, you come in and then we build teams. So if you come in at the moment to become a manager, which is the most important rank in the company, you're going to put 2 people on your left leg, 2 people on your right. We build a binary. And from that binary, you earn team commission. Now, the team commission at the moment and in the new plan is capped at $25,000 a week. Now, think about that. There are people, and I know many of them, who max out those $25,000 every single week. And that is just one of the ways that we can earn, and that's what's called team commission. We also have something called matching bonuses, and matching bonuses are a reward for helping the people in your downline, so in other words, the people you've signed up and they've signed up to achieve. So Alex is my first line, so every time Alex gets a binary bonus, I get 25%, but not of her money. Company pays her full bonus, but they give me 25% and say thanks for helping her. And then people that Alex signed up on my second line, so I get 20% on them, and the people they sign up on my third line, and there's 20% on them too. And that's uncapped, which is very exciting. So how do you get into LifeWave? And then, of course, we get product introductory bonuses. That's our 4th way of earning, and that's from these packages. So how do you get in? I always say you come in where you think you fit in. So when I came in, I was never going to build LifeWave, but I didn't want to be a customer. I wanted to buy as and when and get wholesale price whenever. So I decided, well, I would come in on the binary and I would buy the core pack, which gives me 3 sleeves of X39 for $295. If I knew what I knew now, I would have started telling people sooner and I would have come in on advanced, because advanced already gives you a huge discount. It's $535, but you get 6 sleeves of X39. So there's already a nice discount there, and you can replace any 1 sleeve of X39 with 2 of our supplementary patches. So Alex said we've got 10 different products, but you can ask the person who invited you and they'll tell you what else we have. If you're really serious, you can come in on premium. And when I say really serious, if you've got a clinic, you're a pharmacy, you're a health store, you're a homeopath, you're a chiropractor, any of those sorts of people, you could come in on premium. For $1,750, you're going to get 20 sleeves of X39, so they drop in price to $87.50 a sleeve. Again, you can swap. And if you're on premium, you don't need to buy any product for 3 months. It's going to keep you active for 3 months. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee on any of the packages. And then we need to stay active. And I said, so if you're on premium, you don't need to buy for 3 months. But if you had any kind of business, if you were a florist, you would need to buy and sell flowers. So in LifeWave, until you're a manager, you only need 1 sleeve of patches a month to stay active. And once you're a manager, you only need 2 a month to stay active. So the company is not asking you to buy tons and tons of product and retail it. We don't do that at all. So in my household, my husband and I both patch with X39 every single day. That's all we actually need. We buy more because we use other products, but that's all we need, even in the top rank of the company. So it's another thing with a company is that it's not one of those where the higher your rank is, the more product that you need to buy. So it doesn't work that way. And if you have customers that buy underneath you, their volume adds to yours. So that also means that you don't need to buy as much product. So Alex told you about thisisatinfo.com. We also have a website called thisisateam.com. So thisisateam.com is our business site. That is where everything is explained about the business side. So if you bought a franchise, you would pay thousands of rands, or even in dollars, it would be thousands of dollars to buy a franchise, and you would have to go through training. Some of the franchises, you actually got to do the training before you can even buy the franchise, or before they even allow you to buy the franchise. With LifeWave, you buy your business when you buy your first package. So you're not paying to join, you're paying for product. You get in your website as you join, and you can start handing out your link and earning straight away. Now, this is a team is going to tell you how. Everything from how you sign somebody up to how you should build so that you can be successful, to how the compensation plan works. Obviously, there are going to be new videos put on there with a new compensation plan, but at the moment, exactly how it works. And for the next month, that is how it will work still. So we would go out there and help you become a manager. And of course, your upline is going to assist you. So everything is actually there for you. Between This Is It Info and This Is It Team, it's a plug and play. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to make your own material. It's all there for you. So the time is now to make your move. We say, are you serious about your dream? Whether your dream is for better health, because many of us we join because actually we want to change our health. But now I also find a lot of people join because they actually want to change their wealth. There is hope for your future, and it's about getting started with X39. And just a thing, we talk about the different ways of earning, and we say, okay, well, there are at the moment 4 ways of earning, and they're going to be 9. There are actually 5 ways. There are 5 ways we get compensated, and there's going to be, and there will be 10, because the 5th way and the 10th way is the incentive trips. Because LifeWave rewards us with the most incredible incentive trips that you can work towards. And as our new compensation plan is introduced, the next trip will be announced. And Caroline has been on a trip. She went to Morocco last year, so I met her in person there. Don't know if you just want to say something for us, Caroline, about how the company spoils you when you actually qualify for an incentive.
Yeah, I know. It was absolutely amazing. We were just looked after so well. We had 4 days of just being spoilt with amazing, beautiful hotel, fantastic foods, new dinner every night, transport to the most amazing restaurants, sightseeing, camel seeing. I mean, there was just it was amazing. I've never been to Morocco, and it was such an experience. But most of all, I felt like I was on a luxury holiday. Time to also lie at the pool and relax, and yeah, it was just lovely.
So that is actually, the 5th and the 10th way. I wasn't talking about that, but then Jenna O'Sullivan started telling everybody, actually, we have 5 ways and we're going to have 10. I thought, actually, we do. We have the most incredible trips.
Yeah.
And I've been on several now, and the company really does spoil us and changes everything. So if you're interested and you are on the call for the first time tonight, go back to the person who introduced you, and they can help you by answering any questions you might have, by telling you exactly how you can get started, how you put your kit together, what level would be the right one for you to come on, and then just start making your list and plugging people in. So thanks everybody for being on the call this evening. Thanks, Alex, for always presenting with me. And I look forward to seeing people on Wednesday night's call. For those of you who are brand partners, and if you're guests and you want to come in on Wednesday, we're moving the call to 7 p.m. because there's a corporate training on the new comp plan at 8. So we're going to do a 7 p.m. call instead of an 8 p.m. call. I'm going to stop